Good morning and welcome to our Weber County Board of Commissioner meeting on this Tuesday, the 5th of March. We're glad to have you here. We welcome those of you who have chosen to be here in person, and also those who are attending online or will be attending at another time. Our Pledge of Allegiance this morning will be by Mr. Chad Meyerhofer, followed by the invocation, Mr. Craig Brandt, and our thought of the day will be given by Commissioner Frohr. We'll go to that point. Mr. Meyerhofer.
Repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we thank Thee for this day and the opportunity we have to gather for this commission meeting in Weber County. We're grateful for our communities, Father, and ask humbly Thy blessing upon those who live within those communities, that they can pull together and draw upon the strengths that they have as a community, that they'll be able to withstand the storms that inevitably come in life, and that we'll be blessed today to help to that end, that the decisions made and the things that are approved will help improve the lives of those who live here. We pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Commissioner Frohr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So you may remember sometime in college they had a thing called a pop quiz, which is a quiz that you showed up, you didn't know was going to happen. I actually enjoyed doing that when I taught at Weber State because I liked the look on the students' faces when they were going, "What's he going to ask us?" So I thought today would be appropriate to throw a little pop quiz on the two of you.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I like the look. So this is actually a philosophy pop quiz started by Charles Schulz, who was the creator of the famous comic strip Peanuts. I think that was still in your day. But so I've got a couple of questions to ask you. You don't have to say the answer out loud, but just think about it, ponder it, give me some thoughts. So name the 5 wealthiest people in the world. First question. Name the last 5 Heisman Trophy winners. Name the last 5 winners of the Miss America pageant. Name 10 people who have won the Nobel Prize or Pulitzer Prize. Name the half dozen Academy Award winners for the best actor or actress, take your pick, and name the last decade's worth of World Series winners. As you think about that, I'm sure you pretty much have those nailed, but how did you do? You can just answer that yourself. We're not going to make this a public hearing, but just remember that none of us really remember the headlines of yesterday. There are no second-rate achievers. They're the best in their fields that we just talked about. Award winners, achievements are forgotten a lot of times, and those accolades, trophies, they get buried, they get forgotten. So here's another. That's the first quiz. Here's the second quiz for you. It might be a little easier. List the few teachers who aided your journey through school. 2, name 3 friends who helped you through your difficult time. 3, name 5 people who have taught you something worthwhile. 4, think of a few people who have made you feel appreciated and special. And lastly, think of 5 people you enjoy spending time with. So a little easier. So here's the lesson as promulgated by Charles Schulz. The people who make a difference in your life are not the ones who have the most credentials a lot of times, the most money a lot of times, or the most trophies or awards. They are simply the ones who care the most. So I think you passed the quiz. Thank you.
I like that.
That was really good.
Well, glad you liked it. You're a little worried when I talked about quiz. But
We're both still waiting
Yeah.
for the pop answers.
Yeah. That's.
I think we're off the hook.
anyway,
We are off.
there we are.
But what comes around goes around. So, okay. Well, what a great way to start off a meeting, and that's true. When you talk about those people who care, it doesn't cost you anything to care.
No,
It took a little time,
makes a little difference in
which
people's lives.
then you think about time and what it's worth, right?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Okay, well, the next things are items, public comments. We'll take public comments from those of you who are in the audience today, and then, or those who might be online. Shelley, are there any online today that would like to are there any in the audience that would like to have public comment today? Please, ma'am. Well, it's the wonderful Christy Bell, one of the great council persons from the wonderful town of Uinta. The best salmon dinner one can have on the second Saturday of every June.
You're right.
Okay.
Everybody come. The thought was great. Thank you, because that kind of brings me why I came here today. Do you need me to state who I am? You kind of did. Christy Bell,
Christy
Uinta
Bell.
City
Yeah.
Council, water manager for the city. That's one of the reasons I came in today, was just to kind of give you an update on a project that you guys believed in us to do. So last year, just as a refresher, we came to you with a project, a shovel-ready project that we had been preparing for years. We just needed a little extra help with the funding so we didn't bring the city into a huge debt that we couldn't pay back. So when the ARPA money came around, we thought this was a great project, and we came to the commissioners and said, hey, we just need a little bit of help making sure this project goes forward. So to remind you, we had one of our main storage tanks was crumbling, the infrastructure, and we were under, the storage capacity for the city was underrated, so we had to have a building moratorium put on in the city. So we came to you with this project. We were able, with the money and the extra money that you guys helped us with, we were able to see this project started. So I'm happy to report now that the project is completed. Went flawlessly with our construction company. It was ahead of schedule and under budget. So both two great things, right? And then also, I just wanted to give a kind of a quick update to the county, is that this project gained kind of national attention from the National Rural Water Association with the way that we used the money responsibly and were able to complete it in such a timely manner. They asked me to come speak at an EPA forum to explain what we had done with the county on the county level and how we paired and how we got this project and what it meant for the city and how we responsibly used that federal money. So that was great. And then also last week, I came back from the Utah Rural Water, and I know this has my name on it as the elected official of the year, but I feel like this is a kind of a group pairing. You know, it was a big idea for a little city, and I had a lot of people behind me that believed in this project, including the commissioners, and so together we were all able to tackle a project that has been plaguing the city for over 20 years. So I want to tell the council we appreciate you guys for not only looking out for the county as a whole, but also for your smaller cities that, you know, you made a big difference for Uinta. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
And
Bell.
also I brought you a visual.
Please.
Do you want to see it?
Oh, that's great.
Beautiful tanks. I didn't think tanks could be a beautiful thing, but they are.
So did you say it's complete now?
It's complete. Online, it's done, it's ready. It works flawlessly with our system, and we upgraded from 250,000 gallons to 750,000 gallons and lifted the building moratorium. So
Great
Thank
use
you
of
guys.
funds for those ARPA funds,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair.
we
Great.
appreciate you guys.
Another
You
opportunity.
made a big difference, so thank you.
Thank you, Christy. I'm going to take a moment of personal privilege here. It was easy for us, you know, this project was awarded in the first round of projects because of the work you had done and your council, your team, your water board, all those people in getting ready and making sure that the application was complete and accurate. But I found that to be consistent with the type of work you do every day. Christy, I'm of the opinion that if we had more people in leadership like you, all the areas would be phenomenal. You are a wonderful asset to the community. You're always doing for others. And a lot of times, I know it's in secret, but it doesn't go unnoticed. And I sure appreciate who you are and what you do for that wonderful little town of Uinta, one of the first little towns in northern Utah. You're just a great person, and you're well deserving of that plaque. And of course, it was on time and under budget, because I'm sure I even looked, you know, not just those two discs, those two cement discs that look like flying saucers from 30,000 feet. but also the cars that are in the background there, who's there and who's really watching out and making sure things go well. So thanks to you, thanks to your council and those mentioned, but also thanks to your family, because you serve away from them a lot doing what you do. So we really appreciate you. Thank you. Commissioner Bolos or Commissioner Frohr, any comments?
Well
Not
said.
At this time, great. Yeah, very well said. Thank you. If there's no others, we'll move on to our consent items, Commissioners. Consent item number 1 is a request for approval of warrants 101-207 through and including 101-258 and 482-706 through and including 482-795 and 341 and 342 in the amount of $3,137,438.62. Item 2 is a request for approval of purchase orders in the amount of $189,135.71. And then we have the summary of warrants and purchase orders. I'll turn the time over to Mr. Lynn Taylor for further explanation.
Thank you, Commissioner. We had 144 warrants totaling $3.1 million. The largest of these, 49% or $1.5 million, went to ramp funds, primarily Ogden and Huntsville, and 18% or $550,000 were for paramedic contracted services. We had 17 purchase orders totaling $189,000, and the largest of these, 30% or $56,000, went to the Fleet Department for vehicles and upfit covers, 29% or $54,000 to CSI for a laser scanner system, and 22% or $42,500 to the transfer station for heavy equipment service and repairs.
Great questions for Mr. Taylor, or any more explanation needed?
None for me.
No.
And I'll entertain a motion. Wait, no, never mind. I'll move on to item number 4, which is a request for approval of minutes for the meeting held on February 27th, 2024. Item 5 is a request for approval of new business licenses. Item 6 is a request for the Weber County Homeland Security Department for approval of surplus 11 office chairs. Item 7, a request for the Weber County Library to approve the surplus of 2008 Dodge Sprinter cargo van. Item 8 is a request for approval to declare parcel 1649 and 0130 as surplus property. Item 9 is a request for approval of contract by between Weber County and Power Details. Item for the use of computer software to manage the overtime shifts for the Sheriff's Office. Item 10 is a request for approval of amendment number 1 to contract 2206-30328 between Ogden Valley Wayfind Signage, that's Phase 2. We're going to, actually, Commissioners, let's hold item number 10. And then item number 11 is a request for approval of a contract by and between Weber County and Kim Wimpy to manage the stalls during the Icebreaker Rodeo event at the Golden Spike Event Center. Just to be clear, Mr. Grover, it was correct. We wanted to hold item 10. Is that correct?
No, we were wanting to proceed with that.
Okay. There's no fiscal note on that, so let's, I said that in error, then let's move forward with item 10, which is a request for the approval of Amendment 1 to that contract aforementioned with the wayfinding Phase 2. Any questions, Commissioners? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll motion to approve consent items F 1 through 11.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll place that motion for vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously. Great. Our first action item will be presented by the incomparable Lacey Richards. This is a request for the Recreation Arts Museum of Parks, which is RAMP, for the approval of the 2024 RAMP grant recommendations. Ms. Richards, thank you for what you do here.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity. My name is Lacey Richards. I am the chair of the Weber County Ramp Board. I am joined today by Kevin Burns, who chairs the Recreation and Parks Committee, and Ernie Gonzalez, who chairs the Arts and Museums Committee for RAMP. So on behalf of the RAMP Board, we're pleased to present our funding recommendations for the 2024 RAMP funding cycle. Just to summarize, the funding available in the major grant category was $2,030,666, which was enough to fund 31% of the grant amount that was requested, which was over $6.5 million. We had 9 requests. 7 of those requests were recommended by the board for funding, and those were all partial funding recommendations. In the category of Parks and Recreation, we had $1,854,130 available, which was enough to fund 76% of the amount requested. We had 22 funding requests totaling just under $2.5 million. 16 of those requests were recommended for funding. For the arts and museums category, we had the same amount, the just over $1.8 million available, which was enough to fund 58% of the funding requests. We had 60 requests totaling just under $3.2 million. Of that, 47 of those requests were recommended for funding. It's really an honor and a privilege to serve on this ramp board and to see all of the different ways that people in our community are trying to positively impact the quality of life for all of our residents here in Weber County. I would encourage all of you to look at the different ways that RAMP is in our community, enhancing lots of different opportunities in the arts, with museums, with those parks and recreation opportunities, and some real, some big impactful projects in our community. As a matter of information, the EASY grant cycle is coming up in the next few weeks here. The funding available for that is $80,000. Funding requests up to $2,000 may be submitted for those, and applications are due by 5 p.m. in the Commission office on March 22nd, 2024. Any questions?
Thank you. Ms. Richards, again, appreciate what you as a leader, but that your team and group do on behalf of everyone in Weber County as these funds are distributed countywide for a variety of wonderful projects. Commissioner Bolos, any comments or questions?
Just want to thank you, Lacey and your team. The two of them are here today, but there are many others who spend hours and hours of volunteer time to make this recommendation to WACOG, and I learned about this long before I was a commissioner because I'm friends with Lacey, and I knew that there were times in the year when she was spending hours and hours. So thank you, and please pass that on to the volunteer board. Thank you.
Commissioner Frohr, any comments or questions?
Well, let me just continue that and thank Lacey, Kevin, the other chairs for the work that they put forth. I went through that list last night in the WACOG, and it looked to me like about every city, and it may not be every city, but just about, if not, was received some ramp funding, and projects from museums to parks to you name it. So, and as I reflected on that, a lot of those projects in my mind couldn't be done and wouldn't be done without the help of RAMP. So this is truly a county-wide effort in making sure that we provide additional services, assets, venues for members of the public that probably wouldn't have otherwise. So again, thank you for taking the time. I agree with Commissioner Bolos. The time that you and the committee spend on it is unbelievable for time donated, and I'm not sure the public really understands what goes into these grants, but I appreciate it, and I think the public, if they understood, appreciates it very much.
Thank you, Commissioners. And I would be remiss not to recognize and show appreciation to Shelley and Stacy. They run this program, they keep us all in line, and they are fantastic assets to the county, and it's a privilege to work with them as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I know that they, behind the scenes, you folks are out in front of this, but behind the scenes, the work that's done within that office, our commission office, for these projects is just, it's a heavy, heavy lift. There are a lot of trees that have given their lives, a lot of them, because it was, I remember the one day when the ramp, right after all those applications were submitted, and I walked into Shelley's office, and I almost started laughing because it was literally at least up to your eyeballs everywhere around the whole office, just stacks and stacks and stacks of this. It was, but then I thought, wow, how inspiring. There are a lot of people that, and then that all gets gone through, every piece of paper gets gone through individually by this team. It's just a great thing. So, commissioners, I'll look for, as the legislative body that's in charge of a RAMP, we're looking for approval on these RAMP funds. On these recommendations, and so I'll accept a motion at this time.
Move to approve the 2024 ramp grant recommendations as presented by Ms. Richards.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. I'll place that motion for vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you so much. Item number 2, Commissioners, is a request for approval of the final reading of the ordinance number 2024-07, Weber County Commissioners of Weber County to change the street names of unincorporated Weber County area. Brett Badley.
How you
Mr.
doing?
Badley, welcome.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
So we are just looking to change some roads in 2 subdivisions to correct them with addressing around it, and so we don't have any changes from the first reading.
Great. Questions, Commissioners?
No.
None for me.
Great. I'll entertain a motion then. Since this is in your portfolio, Commissioner Ford, go
I
ahead.
would move to approve final reading of ordinance 2024-07.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Mr. Brandt?
Roll call vote for ordinance 2024-07. Commissioner Ford?
Aye.
Commissioner Bolos?
Aye.
Chair Harvey?
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Badley.
Thank you.
Mr. Vitalik, we have item number 3, which you're the presenter, and it'll be a request for approval of Resolution 12-2024 of the County Commissioners of Weber County making appointments to the Public Defender Board.
I don't see.
I don't see him.
We'll go ahead and, Commissioner Ford, did you want to take a crack at that, or do you want to hold?
Let's hold. I had that discussion, but I want to make sure that the communication to that appointee, which is a reappointment, was actually confirmed.
Great.
So, I don't know, maybe Chris Crockett knows.
I don't know the names, but if you want to hold the item, I can go find out and I can see if I can get Mr. Vitalik.
That's great.
Let's just, yeah.
I think Mike might be on that right now, but why don't you communicate? Let's hold that at least for now.
Yeah.
Let's move on, by virtue of the meeting efficiency, move on to item number 4, which is a request for approval of Resolution 13-2024 of the County Commissioners, initiating and creating a government document for the proposed Nordic Village Public Infrastructure Districts numbers 1, 2, and 3. Ms. Russell?
Commissioners, this is a request for a resolution to start the process for a governing document for the Nordic Valley PID proposal. You had this proposal given to you in a work session, and it would be just the opportunity for them to start working with the county to create that governing document prior to creating a public infrastructure district.
Questions, Commissioner? This is in your portfolio. Commissioner Frohr, any comments or questions?
No, this has been discussed for a number of months now, and so this is just the next step forward to put that infrastructure in place for the potential Nordic Valley development they're doing. So I would move to approve Resolution 13-0-2024.
Point of, before I accept that motion, Mr. Brandt, inasmuch as we've held item number 3 or 12, 2024, would we move or change those numbers?
I think in the interest of keeping it straight, we'll go ahead and keep the numbers as assigned in the agenda and come back to that.
Great, we'll have him in just a moment. We'll keep the numbers, and I'll accept that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second for Resolution 13-2024. I'll place that motion for vote, Mr. Brandt.
Roll call vote for Resolution 13-2024. Commissioner Frohr?
Aye.
Commissioner Bolos?
Aye.
Chair Harvey?
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. We'll now move item number 3
Thank
back
you.
to place. Mr. Vitalik, come on forward if you would, and this is a request for approval of Resolution 12-2024 of the County Commissioners making appointments to the Public Defender Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just in court. I'm sorry. We have a
That's
big
okay.
RICO case over there I needed to get over and help on.
Appreciate the compliment.
We have, ever since the Public Defender's Office was created in 2022, we had a formal resolution that created a Public Defender Board. And in looking at the resolution just last week, I discovered that Rich Morrow, his position had expired December 31st of last year. And I talked to Commissioner Frohr about it. He asked me to reach out to Rich, see if he was interested in serving an additional 3-year term, which the resolution does allow for. And Rich said, yes, he says if you see need for him, he'll be happy to serve. And so we presented that's what the resolution is about. He will be, I think his expiration will be 2026. I think Judge West is
2024.
2024, and Gage Frower's 2025. So we'll just stay on top of that and make sure we get people in those positions as they expire.
Right. Thank you very much, Commissioner Frohr.
So I would move to approve that resolution 12-2024, reappointing Mr. Rich Morrill. And I would just say that serving on that board, he's a wealth of information. This is his background, and I think along with Judge West, we're very fortunate to have both those individuals on this board. So,
Great. So I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Brandt?
Roll call vote for Resolution 12-2024. Commissioner Frohr.
aye.
Commissioner Bolos.
Aye.
Chair Harvey.
Aye. Thank you very much. Thanks, Mr. Vitale.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Item number 5 now on our agenda is a request for approval of Resolution 14-2024, the County Commissioners of Weber County approving the 2023 Municipal Wastewater Planning Program Annual Audit. The great Chad Meyerhofer. Go ahead.
Yeah, Commissioners, it's that time of year where we get to go through our Municipal Wastewater Planning Program Annual Report. Just like to go through and point out a few of the main points, and if any of the commissioners have any questions, hopefully I'll be able to answer those. But there's kind of two sections that we go through as far as our financial aspect of the sewer, which we're doing fairly good with that. Collecting 95% or more of our sewer fees, which is good. Most of the capital, or most of our improvements are done through development, so we don't really have too many projects that we've done or look to do as far as the county, as far as extending new sewer out there. We did have one project last year where we did remove one of our temporary lift stations, which was a bonus, so we were able to get rid of that and go off to the new Taylor Landing sewer lift station, so that was a bonus. This next year we have a few small projects, but most of them are just maintenance and repair projects rather than improvements. So as far as our collections lines, we're getting up, most of our sewer line average is about 10 feet deep, and right now we're getting up where we have quite a bit of sewer line. We've got about 13.9 miles of sewer line, so quite a bit. Have about 20 or so new customers that connected last year, and we're up to about just a little under 390 in how many connections that we have that are discharging. So, and our service population's a little bit more than that, with some connections out there that nobody's connected to yet, but development's definitely moving forward out there. So, as far as our sewer system, we're in pretty good shape as far as the county. Most of our stuff's fairly new, so we don't have too much maintenance or repair issues with it. So we usually go through and camera our system and clean it out about once every 5 to 7 years, 7 to 10 years maybe, with those newer systems that have just come online and haven't had as much use. So as far as a whole, the sewer system's in pretty good shape, and just like to have you guys' approval on this so we can submit this information to the state. So any questions that you may have?
Questions, commissioners? Comments, Commissioner Frohr, in your portfolio again?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank Chad and engineering department. The county's not in the sewer business to speak of, but we've inherited some of these projects kind of by default of being the public body that's in charge of those, and Chad and his group have done a great job of managing those, making sure that the fees that are paid are in line with our cost, so it doesn't really become an expense to the county. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'm happy to make a motion when you're ready.
If you would, please.
So I would make a motion to approve Resolution 14-2024.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for Resolution 14-2024. Mr. Brandt?
Roll call vote for Resolution 14-2024. Commissioner Frohr.
Aye.
Commissioner Bolos.
Aye.
Chair Harvey.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Meyerhofer.
Thanks, Commissioners.
Mr. Perry, Chief Perry, our request for approval of an Academy corporate agreement by and between Weber County and the Weber State University for a
Look
correction.
like Chief Perry.
Boy, I'll say.
Younger Chief Perry.
And Corrections Function Office Academy, class for Weber County Sheriff's Office. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sergeant Babinski with the Weber County Sheriff's Office. Chief Perry had some training that he had to attend, so he couldn't be here. He asked me to be here. So right now, the Weber County, or the Weber State Academy has an academy going on. It started in January, and they graduate on March 19th. Their next academy won't be until August 5th, which graduation would be about October, November. What we're asking is, we reached out to Weber State Academy. They've agreed that they would hold another academy for us starting in May, and graduation would be in July. Right now, we have 9 people that are hired that are waiting to go to the academy. We have 3 in background, and we have 19. We have a testing process on March 16th. We have 19 that are RSVP'd so far. We would like to get an academy started sooner than waiting for August, so that we can get these people through the academy and get them started. So, any questions?
Sergeant, thank you for your presentation. You've done well.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bolos, being in your portfolio, any comments or questions?
I'll make a motion just with a quick comment. I appreciate the relationship you guys have with Weber State. For them to add an additional training is awesome and shows that you guys have that good relationship. So with that, I'll make a motion to approve the agreement by and between Weber County and Weber State University as presented by Sergeant Babinski.
Great, you have a motion?
Second.
Great, a motion and a second. I'll place that motion for vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Commissioner.
you.
All right, item number 7 is a request for approval of Resolution 15-2024. County Commissioners, Weber County appointing a new Chief Administrative Office of Appeals. Ms. Avery, thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So that resolution.
That is
I
awesome.
didn't necessarily choose it.
You're quite
But it's good.
qualified, and we sure love the work that you've done. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Commissioner Bolos, any comments or questions on
No.
this? Mr. Frohr? No, I'm not. Either one of you all entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve Resolution 15-2024.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for 15-2024. Mr. Brandt?
Roll call vote for Resolution 15-2024. Commissioner Farrar.
Aye.
Commissioner Bolos.
Aye.
Chair Harvey.
Aye, great. That carries. Thank you. Ms. Avery, this is item number 8 is a request for approval of the first reading of a grandma ordinance and amendment to clarify and improve the county code regarding the process of the grandma appeal, or Chapter 2-13-7, subsection A. Go ahead, Ms. Avery.
Correct.
Cleanup process. Appreciate it. Commissioner, either commissioner will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the first reading of a grammar request ordinance amendment to clarify and improve county code regarding processes for grandma appeal as presented by Ms. Avery.
Thank you. Got a motion for first reading?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. I'll place that motion for vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thanks. And Ms. Avery, item number 9 is for the grandma request annual report for 2023. Go ahead.
Yes. So
That's interesting. We probably need to focus on that on some work session stuff. That's interesting.
and that's only requests that have been entered into the next request system. Some departments do receive some via in-person or by mail as well.
Commissioners, questions for Ms. Avery on this particular item?
One question, if I might, or could you go back to that first slide? I'm not sure that one that talked about what the request were for.
The
Okay, well, I'm a little colorblind, so.
No, you're fine.
All right. I thought that was true, so 71% are because of the sheriff.
Yep, and last year, just that was entered into the system, there was over 1,600 requests
Wow.
just for 2023.
Okay.
I'll let you know where we're headed.
No surprise, but yeah.
You
Thank
know,
you.
Commissioner Bowles, comments or questions?
No.
You know, I do want to make one comment before we go. Of course, back prior to 2019, back 2016 and 17, the number of grandma requests out of the commission office was the granddaddy. And that has dropped off the chart because I think we've made a lot of efforts, one, in televising this meeting, the way that the girls, our staff has put these notes out. We've made everything available, including our work sessions. When you talk about our efforts of being transparent, it's right there. That document right there that you showed also sheds light on the administrative portion of the county. And first responders have been, first responders and how their actions, that doesn't surprise me. It's where it is because of the way we are in a society, but it also, there's also some good news in that as well. And so I really appreciate your help with that. Thank you for doing a good job. With that, Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion on this, item number 9.
Oh, and there was one more thing.
Go ahead.
So I got a report on the county archives as well. So we're working to
Please.
update the grandma system and keep that going. And then also we've been updating our archive website and then the archive room as well. There were a few more slides. Do you want me to show those or?
I'd like, if you have
Okay.
more on your presentation, please.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing, I know that through Leanne Kiltz's office, those archives appreciate what you've done on those. So we've got some of the most ancient, I should say, for Utah archives in the state. And now we've done a wonderful job preserving and digitizing them. So great job, team. Way to go. Go ahead, Miss Avery.
So this last part is just regarding Q4 for 2023. Again, it shows the top 3 departments that received requests during that time. It's the same 3 departments that received the top requests. And then it goes breaking it down to how many requests departments received just during Q4. And then, again, those are the top 3. And then the next one shows the remaining departments of the county that use the next request system. There are a couple departments that don't use that, but this is just based off all the ones that use it. Our goal is to decrease the number of late requests that are reflected on this report. The number of late requests have been going down. Many of these are really just getting used to the settings with the tool. And then, for example, sometimes we have to ask the requester additional questions and it can take several days for them to respond. And if the due date isn't adjusted, sometimes then when I pull the report, it reflects as late when it wasn't. So we're just we're doing training with departments regarding grandma and archives and just make sure everyone's familiar with the tools.
Great.
So.
Satisfactory. Any questions?
Great slide. No, appreciate that info.
Thank you.
Great. Then I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd move to approve the grandma request annual report for 2023 as presented by Ms. Avery this morning.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I'll place that motion for vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you very much, Jeannie. Bahi, why don't you come up here, will you? Before commissioners, we give a report. I'd like Bahi to have a little something that you're going to sing or speech. What do you got for us?
I'm going to praise.
Praise, good.
So if Debbie can come up. Debbie has no idea about this. I just told her she had to come downstairs.
Told her.
Yes, it's the best way. So We got to pick this month for the Stall of Fame, and unquestionably, it was easy to pick Debbie. Debbie is possibly the most model employee you could ever have. She's the face of the recorder's office. She's the first one everyone sees. And with that, what we've had after she's taken over our office is night and day in what we get with all the compliments we have. We run a survey. We have survey cards out front, and I'm not kidding you. We get 70% of these are about Debbie and how great her office is running up front. She takes care of people, and she does it in such a great way that we get a lot of disgruntled people, but she takes them, listens to their needs, and answers them in the best way possible. I didn't know, actually I did know. The minute they reached out to us, I know exactly who it should have been. It should have been Debbie. She does so good. She trains her employees, and I could keep going. She's just great at what she does, and I wish I could have 10 of her.
Thank you. Commissioner Bolos, any comments or questions?
I think it's great. It's wonderful. When I walk in to the office, I always face their office, and everyone in that office is so friendly, and she just waved at me. They always wave at me. They're just such a friendly office. But you make a good point. When you have to work with disgruntled customers, it can be really difficult. So I really appreciate those who make an effort to be kind and understanding. So thank you.
Commissioner Frohr, hold on, we're not done. We're not done.
Stay there. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that 100%. It's, you know, every time you see Debbie, she's always has a smile on her face. I think that shows in the customer service that she gives. Just another shining example of what we pride ourselves here in Weber County, which is the best in customer service. And boy, Debbie deserves more than what she's about to receive. But thank you very much for what you do.
Thanks.
Debbie, you know, after working for the county now for 3 decades, it's only been a few years I've been coming to this building. But for all that time, you were one of the first person when I walked in the doors. It gave a nice smile. Your eyes were shining and welcoming. And as I've watched you interact with customers who are coming in, and they seem to talk with their arms a lot like this, and you're just diffuse the situation. You just have a way with people. Boy, and I can only imagine how that is, I watched it here in the office, how that's helped the people here and along with your team, but also how wonderful that must be within the walls of your home. I really, you're a wonderful person, and this is long overdue, but certainly very, very well-deserved, and thank you for being who you are. So with that, we'd like to come down. Bahi and Debbie would like to get a picture. You other 2 hooligans that have joined, would you come up too? Let's get some little picture here. Please.
Great. You guys will stand right here.
Right where?
Right in front, and the commissioner will join you. And you have to squish in. Yeah, I know. I'm just getting centered. Just getting centered.
Going on this.
Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Get the commission in there.
So we'd like, from the audience, since you were so good at making the applause, if we could get some ooh and ah, Debbie. You know, along with getting the number 1 parking stall in the whole county for the next.
That's nice for when you're running late.
Hold on, a collective ooh. Ooh. And you also get your own shiny star embossed keychain. Now an awe. Ah. Perfect. Let's go right there. I'll come over here. Why do you hold that up for? You guys hold that together. Show that to the public. Show that to the public. There we go.
All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hold on. One more. And 1, 2, 3.
Now, once again, a collective yay. Anything you'd like to say?
No, I just appreciate everybody over here. I'm really grateful. That's your place.
Well, with that, Commissioners, item number 8, is there any other Commissioner comments for the day?
None for me.
None. I'll entertain a motion for item number I.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion just seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Adjourned.